Oh yeah, we beep beep like the sheep we are. Just kidding. Well, friends, hope you enjoyed that dance break. First, we're going to get caught up with our project because this is week 2 of our project.
We're going to jump right in so that we have all of our instructions and we have time to get everything done. So last week, hopefully you were able to have a chance to build your pendulum and get an idea of how big it is, how much space we're working with, and maybe some of you have started on your second pendulum for the design competition. Both of those will be done by next Monday. So if you want to do the competition, that one is also done by next Monday. But if you just want to do the one that we gave you, that's totally fine too.
Totally fine.
Totally fine. So now this week, hopefully you'll be working on your paintings. So before you get your painting all ready, I would really like to encourage you guys to actually practice with water, which sounds a little weird, but I promise you it makes sense. Taking it outside, filling up whatever container you have with water, and then pushing it to see how it moves is a great way to see how your pendulum works, seeing if you're happy with it, and then before you get to painting and get it all over your paper.
We have a cool video that we want to share with you real quick so that you can see a giant pendulum in action, a paint pendulum. This woman built it in her garage and it's on her roof.
She put it to her ceiling.
To her ceiling. So this is a big, big pendulum. And here we go.
We're in.
Now this is sped up, so yours won't move this fast, but we wanted to show you kind of more quickly what kind of design this pendulum should be making. So we just wanted to show you kind of a giant paint pendulum and what you could do.
If you were to do the paint pendulum without putting some water in it, it might drop. I mean, maybe you want to experiment with that and see if you like the design that happens when it's thicker. But in the instructions, I did say we're going to revisit back to the volcano project, 2 parts paint and 1 part water.
So whatever you use to measure your first part of water, or I'm sorry, of paint, you're going to have half the amount of water, or the other way around. Whatever measurement you use for your water, you're going to have 2 times the amount of paint.
The other thing is going back to the practice. The great part about practicing with water is that once it's dry, you don't see it. So I would just practice on the sidewalk and let it dry. And if you want to keep moving it around, seeing what it looks like, you can feel free to do that. But when you get to the painting, as you saw in that video, it does not always stay on the paper. So you might want to put some newspaper, or if you have a tarp or some type of material that you want to put underneath your pendulum just so you don't get paint everywhere, that might be a really good idea too. The other thing I would like to tell you all about is the paper. Now, we gave each kid in your family 2 pieces of poster paper, and those measurements are 22 inches by 28 inches. Now, your pendulum that I don't know if you can see it, it's on the floor, but the one that we gave you is about 2 feet by 2 feet, which means it's 24 inches by 24 inches. If you would like your paper to be a perfect square and fit perfectly in your pendulum, you can have a parent cut off those math 6 inches from the paper and have a 22 by 22 inch square of paper that you can use, or you can just use the whole paper and see how you'd like. So definitely have fun with that. You do not have to keep it the size that you'd like it. If you want to make it even smaller, you can do that too. Have fun with the paper. It can be whatever you'd like. It would just fit better if you cut it, but that is totally a personal preference of yours if you'd like it to stay the same.
Yep.
Now, I think, the last thing is the stopper. So if you saw in the beginning of the video, she kind of had her hand underneath it before she pushed it. And then that way the paint wasn't falling right before it started moving around in the pattern that it went in. You might want to put a piece of tape, maybe cover your finger over the hole so that the paint doesn't spill out everywhere as you're filling it up with your paint mixture. I've seen people use note cards if you have like index cards to hold it up. So feel free to do that as well. And as Mrs. Patty said, you can also get creative with how you stop it, because if you pull it off right away, it will definitely make a streak, which could be part of your art. But if you don't want that streak, you can also find something that can catch it without having the paint go all over your canvas a second time.
Yep.
And